Madison Sullivan's phone buzzed with a text just as she was squeezing onto the crowded subway train, almost causing her to drop the bulging folder of fabric swatches she'd been clutching to her chest. Being an event planner in New York meant her arms were perpetually full of samples, portfolios, and coffee, especially now that she was juggling her regular clients plus planning her best friend Becca's brother's surprise birthday. Don't forget 7 p.m. tomorrow to finalize everything. Read the text from Becca. Daniel still has no idea, Madison smiled, adjusting her tote bag while trying not to elbow the businessman standing too close beside her. Planning Daniel Baker's 30th birthday party had become her pet project over the last month. Though she'd only met Daniel a handful of times through Becca, his sister had insisted Madison was the only person who could pull off the aviation-themed surprise party he deserved. The subway screeched to a halt, and Madison squeezed through the doors at her stop, already mentally reviewing her checklist for tomorrow's meeting at Daniel's apartment. Becca had arranged for Daniel's roommate to let them in while her brother was at work. His roommate's super nice, Becca had assured her. Kind of intimidating at first, but he's a good guy, works a lot though. As Madison approached the upscale apartment building in Chelsea the next evening, she stopped to check her reflection in a storefront window, smoothing down her burgundy dress and fluffing her chestnut hair. She wasn't normally self-conscious about client meetings, but something about the building's imposing facade made her suddenly aware of her discount store boots and the coffee stain she'd tried to hide on her sleeve. The doorman nodded politely as he checked her name against the visitor list. "Mr. Armstrong is expecting you, Miss Sullivan. Penthouse floor." Madison blinked. Penthouse? Becca had mentioned her brother lived with a roommate in a nice place, but she'd clearly understated things. As the elevator climbed, Madison frantically tried to recall what little she knew about Daniel's roommate. Becca had only mentioned his first name, Adam, and that they'd been friends since college. The elevator opened directly into a stunning foyer with floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the Manhattan skyline. Madison was still taking in the view when a deep voice startled her. "You must be Madison." She turned to see a tall man with dark hair and striking blue eyes watching her with an amused expression. He wore a simple charcoal sweater that probably cost more than her monthly rent, with sleeves pushed up to reveal strong forearms crossed over his chest. Something about his stance suggested he was used to commanding attention in any room. "Yes, I'm Madison, the party planner," she replied, extending her hand. "You must be Adam, Daniel's roommate?" His grip was firm but brief. "Adam Armstrong, nice to finally meet you. Becca talks about you constantly. All good things, I hope." Madison laughed nervously, still trying to reconcile this penthouse with what she'd imagined of Daniel's living situation. "This place is." Wow, a small smile played at the corner of Adam's mouth. "Daniel likes the view." "Can I get you something to drink?" Becca just texted she's running about 20 minutes late. Madison followed Adam through the apartment, noting the minimalist decor that somehow managed to feel both luxurious and comfortable. "Just water would be great, thanks." "I hope I'm not disrupting your evening." "Not at all." Adam moved with ease around the kitchen, grabbing a bottle of sparkling water. "I've been curious about this surprise party. Daniel hasn't had a proper birthday celebration since our college days." Madison accepted the water, careful not to let their fingers brush. "Becca mentioned he's turning 30, big milestone." "Indeed." Adam leaned against the counter, studying her with an intensity that made her nervous. "She also mentioned you're the best event planner in the city." Madison felt heat rising to her cheeks. "Becca exaggerates. I do okay for myself." "False modesty?" Adam raised an eyebrow. "I looked up your portfolio online. The Zhang wedding at the Botanical Gardens was impressive." Madison nearly choked on her water. "You researched me." "I like to know who's coming into my home." His voice was unapologetic but not unkind. "And who's planning my best friend's birthday?" Before Madison could respond, her phone chimed with a text from Becca. Subway stalled, at least 30 more minutes, so sorry. Madison sighed and showed Adam the message. Looks like we're stuck with each other a bit longer. To her surprise, Adam's serious expression softened. In that case, maybe you can walk me through what you're planning. I'd like to help with Daniel's party if I can. For the next half hour, Madison spread her materials across the dining table while Adam asked thoughtful questions about her plans for the aviation-themed event. She'd secured a venue that overlooked LaGuardia Airport, arranged for a retired pilot to give a short talk, and designed invitations that looked like vintage boarding passes. Daniel will love this, Adam said, examining her mood board. Aviation's been his passion since we were kids. You've known each other that long, Adam nodded, a fond expression crossing his face. Since we were 10. Our mothers were friends. When we both ended up at Columbia, sharing an apartment just made sense. Madison tried to reconcile the timeline. And you've been roommates since college, that's unusual for successful adults in their 30s. Adam laughed outright, the sound warm and unexpected. This isn't exactly a standard roommate situation. I own the building. Madison froze. You own the building, this entire building, among others. Adam shrugged as though discussing the weather. Real estate development is my primary business. Madison felt her professional demeanor slipping as realization dawned. Armstrong. Wait, Armstrong Development Group, you're that Adam Armstrong. His expression remained neutral, but his eyes watched her carefully. Does that change something? Madison mentally kicked herself. Of course, Becca's brother's roommate wasn't just some random guy, he was Adam Armstrong, the 34-year-old CEO whose company had been transforming the New York skyline for the past decade. His face regularly appeared in business magazines, though in person he seemed younger and less severe than his photographs suggested. No, it doesn't change anything, Madison recovered quickly, gathering her papers. Except maybe your budget contribution to the party. Adam's laugh returned, deeper this time. Fair enough. Put me down for whatever you need. By the time Becca finally arrived, apologizing profusely, Madison and Adam had finalized most of the party details. Madison couldn't help noticing how Adam's demeanor shifted more reserved and businesslike once Becca joined them. The easy conversation they'd been sharing replaced by polite nods. As Madison prepared to leave, Adam walked her to the elevator while Becca used the bathroom. You never asked how much, he said quietly. How much what? My budget contribution. Most people would have immediately suggested a figure once they realized who I was. Madison adjusted her tote bag. I'm not most people, Mr. Armstrong. Besides, this isn't about you, it's about Daniel. Something flickered in Adam's eyes, approval, perhaps. Good answer. He handed her a business card. My direct number. Call if you need anything for the party, anything at all. The elevator doors closed before Madison could reply, leaving her to wonder why her heart was suddenly beating so fast. Over the next 2 weeks, Madison found herself texting Adam more frequently than necessary about party details. What had started as occasional questions about Daniel's preferences quickly evolved into daily check-ins that often strayed from party planning altogether. Daniel loves chocolate but hates chocolate cake, Adam texted one afternoon. Contradictory, I know, noted, Madison replied. How about chocolate mousse instead? Also, random question, do you know if he's afraid of heights? The venue has a rooftop area. He's a wannabe pilot. Heights are fine, and mousse is perfect. There was a pause before another message appeared. How's your day going, besides planning the party of the century? The conversation shifted to Madison's hectic schedule, a difficult client who wanted a beach-themed wedding in December, and Adam's recommendation for the best place to find coffee when working late. When Madison finally looked at the time, she realized they'd been texting for over an hour. 3 days before the party, disaster struck. Madison was in the middle of confirming final details with the venue when she received a panicked call from the manager. I'm so sorry, Miss Sullivan, but there's been a major plumbing issue. The entire space is flooded. We have to cancel all events for the next 2 weeks. Madison felt the blood drain from her face. Finding a new aviation-themed venue on such short notice would be impossible. She was pacing her tiny apartment, frantically calling every contact in her phone, when Adam's name lit up her screen. Madison? Becca mentioned you've been trying to reach her. Is everything okay with the party? The concern in his voice broke her professional composure. The venue flooded. Everything's ruined. 3 days out and I have nowhere to host 60 people for an aviation-themed party. I've failed completely. There was a brief silence before Adam spoke, his voice calm and decisive. Meet me at the office, 34th and Park, 30 minutes. Your office? Adam, I don't see how. Trust me, he interrupted. 30 minutes. Exactly 29 minutes later, Madison stood in the lobby of the Armstrong Development Group headquarters, nervously smoothing her hastily chosen outfit. The receptionist directed her to the elevator with a knowing smile. Adam was waiting when the doors opened, looking every inch the powerful CEO in a tailored navy suit. Without preamble, he guided her through a sleek hallway to a conference room where architectural plans were spread across the table. "What's all this?" Madison asked, confused. "Option 1, Adam said, pointing to the first set of blueprints. I own a building near Teterboro Airport with a top-floor event space, currently unfurnished, but the views of the runway are unparalleled." Madison blinked in surprise. "You'd let us use it?" "Option 2, Adam continued, ignoring her question and pointing to another set of plans. "The rooftop terrace of my company's headquarters. We've hosted events for 300 people up there." "Adam, these are incredible options, but option 3 is the penthouse. My private roof garden can accommodate 60 people, and the view includes 3 major flight paths." Madison stared at him. "You're seriously offering your home?" Adam finally met her eyes. "I'm offering solutions. Daniel deserves his party. You've worked too hard to see it fall apart now." There was something in his expression. Madison couldn't quite interpret something beyond mere helpfulness. Before she could analyze it further, Adam's assistant appeared with catering menus and contact information for event staff already on the Armstrong development payroll. "Clara will help coordinate whichever option you choose," Adam said. "I need to handle a few calls, but I'll be back to finalize details." When Adam returned an hour later, Madison had made her decision. "The rooftop terrace is perfect. With some creative decorating, we can maintain the aviation theme while actually seeing real planes. It's better than the original venue." Adam smiled, a genuine expression that transformed his usually serious face. "Excellent choice." "I don't know how to thank you," Madison said, gathering her notes. "You've saved everything." Adam stepped closer, his voice dropping slightly. "Have dinner with me tonight." Madison froze. "Dinner?" "To discuss the final arrangements," Adam added quickly, though something in his eyes suggested he had more than party planning on his mind. "That's not necessary. I've already taken enough of your time and resources." "It wasn't a business request, Madison." Adam's directness caught her off guard. "Unless I've completely misread the situation." Madison felt her pulse quicken. Had she been that transparent? She'd told herself their text conversations were purely professional, but deep down, she knew she'd been developing feelings for the serious, thoughtful man behind the CEO facade. "You haven't misread anything," she admitted softly. "But this is complicated. I'm planning your best friend's party." "Becca is my best friend. There are professional boundaries." Adam took a step back, respecting her space. "You're right. Poor timing on my part." "After the party," Madison found herself saying. "Ask me again after the party." The smile that spread across Adam's face was worth the risk. "I'll hold you to that." The next 3 days passed in a whirlwind as Madison and Adam's team transformed the corporate rooftop into an aviation enthusiast's dream. Vintage propellers, model airplanes, and flight maps became decorative elements. The bartenders created cocktails named after famous pilots, and the cake was designed to look like Daniel's favorite aircraft. On the night of the party, Madison arrived early to oversee final preparations. She found Adam already there, directing staff with the same authority he presumably used in board meetings. "Everything looks incredible," she said, approaching him at the edge of the terrace. "You've gone above and beyond." Adam turned, his eyes widening slightly as he took in her appearance. Madison had splurged on a new dress for the occasion, a deep blue that complemented her eyes and fell just above her knees. "You look beautiful," he said simply. Madison smiled. "You clean up pretty well yourself." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the city lights sparkle below. Adam seemed on the verge of saying something when his phone buzzed. Becca's text there 5 minutes out. Daniel still has no idea. The surprise was perfect. When Daniel stepped onto the rooftop, the gathered crowd of friends and family shouted surprise. As promised, but what truly moved him to speechless delight was the aviation-themed wonderland before him. His eyes darted from the model planes suspended from above to the actual aircraft visible in the distance, their lights blinking against the night sky. "This is incredible," Daniel managed, hugging his sister before turning to Adam. "Did you organize this?" Adam shook his head. "This was all Madison and Becca. I just provided the space." Daniel turned to Madison with genuine gratitude. "Thank you, I don't even know what to say." As the party progressed, Madison found herself watching Adam more often than she should. Despite the crowd, he seemed slightly removed, observing rather than participating, except when directly engaged by Daniel or other close friends. Several times, she caught him watching her as well, their eyes meeting briefly across the room before one of them looked away. Near midnight, as the celebration showed no signs of winding down, Madison slipped away to the quieter edge of the terrace. She was reviewing her mental checklist, ensuring everything had gone according to plan, when she sensed Adam's presence beside her. "Hiding from your own success?" he asked, offering her a glass of champagne. Madison accepted it with a smile. "Just taking a moment to breathe." "Everything worked out perfectly, thanks to you." Adam clinked his glass gently against hers. "Your reputation is well-deserved." "I had help," Madison glanced at him. "Considerable help. Partners make better outcomes." Adam's words seemed weighted with additional meaning. Madison turned to face him fully. "Is that your business philosophy, Mr. CEO?" "Adam," he corrected softly. "And no, it's not something I've practiced much professionally or personally. I've always preferred working alone." "Until now," Madison ventured. The intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. "Until now." Before either could say more, Becca appeared, slightly tipsy and beaming. "Madison, you absolute genius. Daniel is over the moon. This is the best night ever." Madison embraced her friend, aware of Adam stepping back to give them space. When Becca insisted Madison join her for photos with Daniel, she had no choice but to follow, casting an apologetic look toward Adam. It was nearly 2 in the morning when the last guests departed. Only Madison, Adam, Becca, and Daniel remained, along with the cleanup crew efficiently restoring order to the terrace. "Stay at my place tonight," Becca urged Madison. "It's too late for you to head back to your apartment alone." Madison hesitated, unexpectedly reluctant to leave. "I should help finish up here first." "Nonsense," Becca insisted. "Adam has people for that, right, Adam?" Adam nodded, his expression unreadable. "Everything's under control here." Madison gathered her purse, disappointment settling in her chest. The evening was ending without the conversation she'd been anticipating. "Well, thank you again for everything, Adam. This wouldn't have been possible without you." "The pleasure was mine," he replied formally, though his eyes held a warmer message. As Madison followed Becca toward the elevator, Daniel hung back to speak with Adam. Just before the doors closed, Madison heard Daniel say, "So, are you finally going to tell her how you feel, or what?" The next morning, Madison woke on Becca's couch with a slight headache and the lingering frustration of missed opportunity. She checked her phone, no messages from Adam. Whatever moment had been building between them seemed to have passed. After thanking Becca for breakfast and deflecting her friends' curious questions about what was going on with you and Adam, Madison headed home to catch up on work for her other clients. She had just settled at her desk when her doorbell rang. Adam stood in her hallway, looking slightly less polished than usual in jeans and a casual button-down. "I got your address from Becca," he explained before she could ask. "I hope that's okay." Madison nodded, suddenly conscious of her messy ponytail and weekend loungewear. "Do you want to come in?" Adam stepped inside, taking in her tiny but charming apartment with interest. "Nice place." "Not quite a penthouse," Madison joked, gesturing for him to sit on her small sofa. "I like it better," Adam said sincerely, remaining standing. "It feels like a home." An awkward silence stretched between them until they both spoke at once. "I wanted to thank you. About last night," they laughed, the tension easing slightly. Adam gestured for Madison to continue. "I wanted to thank you properly for saving the party," she said. "You went above and beyond for someone you barely know." Adam's expression grew serious. "That's what I came to talk about. I don't feel like I barely know you, Madison. These past few weeks planning the party together, I've felt a connection I haven't experienced before." Madison's heart raced. "I felt it too." Adam stepped closer. "Daniel called me out last night. Apparently I've been painfully obvious about my interest in you." Madison smiled. "Becca said the same thing to me this morning, asked if there was something going on between us. And what did you tell her?" Adam asked softly. "That I didn't know yet." Madison met his gaze directly, "But I hoped there might be." The space between them disappeared as Adam closed the distance, his hand gently cupping her cheek. "The party's over," he murmured. "Can I ask you now?" Instead of answering, Madison rose on her tiptoes and pressed her lips to his. Adam responded immediately, his arms encircling her waist as he deepened the kiss. When they finally separated, both were slightly breathless. "I'll take that as a yes to dinner," Adam said with a smile. Their first official date, the following evening, set the pattern for their relationship, equal parts passionate and thoughtful. Adam took her to a small, family-owned Italian restaurant where the owner greeted him by name and led them to a secluded corner table. "I expected somewhere more." "Pretentious?" Adam supplied with a wry smile. "I save that for business dinners. This place has the best carbonara in the city, and no one tries to take my picture while I'm eating." Over the next few months, Madison discovered the many layers to Adam Armstrong. Behind the serious CEO facade was a man who remembered her coffee order, sent flowers to her tiny office after difficult client meetings, and listened intently to her dreams of expanding her event planning business. For his part, Adam found in Madison something his success had never provided: someone who saw past his wealth and position to the person beneath. She challenged him when he worked too much, laughed at his dry humor, and never treated his time or resources as entitlements. "You're different with her," Daniel commented after observing them together at a dinner 6 months into their relationship. "More human, less robot." Adam couldn't deny it. Madison had softened his edges without weakening his resolve, a balance he hadn't known was possible. The evening Adam asked Madison to move in with him, they were sitting on his penthouse roof garden, the same space where they'd connected during Daniel's party planning. "This seems familiar," Madison teased, gesturing to the city lights around them. "Though with considerably fewer aviation decorations." Adam laughed, taking her hand. "I was thinking the same thing. That party changed everything for me." "For me too," Madison admitted, "though I never imagined where it would lead." Adam's expression grew serious as he pulled a small box from his pocket. Madison's breath caught, thinking it might be a ring, but instead he opened it to reveal a key. "Move in with me," he said simply. "Not because it's convenient or because my place is bigger. Move in with me because I love waking up next to you and hate every morning you're not here." Tears sprang to Madison's eyes. "Are you sure? I come with a lot of fabric swatches and event catalogs." "I've cleared an entire room for your office," Adam replied, "and I love you clutter and all." Madison took the key, her smile radiant. "I love you too." A year after Daniel's surprise birthday, the event that brought them together, Adam proposed properly, with a ring this time, during a private helicopter tour of the city. The aviation theme felt right somehow, bringing their story full circle. Their wedding, planned by Madison herself with considerable input from Adam, was an intimate affair on the same rooftop where they'd first acknowledged their feelings. Becca served as maid of honor while Daniel stood as best man, both taking partial credit for the match. "I told him to ask you out that night," Daniel revealed during his toast. "Best advice I ever gave him." Becca countered with her own claim. "I deliberately arrived late to that planning meeting to give you time alone. You can thank me anytime." As Madison and Adam shared their first dance as husband and wife, she whispered, "Do you think we would have found each other without Daniel's birthday party?" Adam pulled her closer. "Without a doubt. Some things are inevitable." Looking out at the New York skyline, the city where Adam built buildings and Madison created moments, Madison had to agree. Their love story might have begun unexpectedly, with a surprise party and a flooded venue, but their ending had always been written in the stars visible above the city lights. 3 years later, as Madison held their newborn daughter in the hospital with Adam beside her, overcome with emotion, she couldn't help but think about how a simple party planning gig had changed her entire life. "Welcome to the world, Olivia," Adam whispered to their daughter, his voice filled with awe. "Your mom planned the most amazing surprise once, and somehow I was the one who ended up surprised by how completely I could fall in love." Madison smiled up at her husband, their fingers intertwined. "Best surprise ever,"